Hello, everybody. I'm Alexy Khrabrov, a chief scientist at Nitro, and this is a Nitro Tech Talk series. And here with us, I have Erran Berger, senior director of engineering at LinkedIn. And he's going to talk about engineering culture today. He has some series of amazing posts on LinkedIn about building engineering culture, and we're an engineering organization growing to web scale and scaling, so we're very interested. So I'm going to ask Erran about his experience, and first, can you tell us a little bit more about your background and your career at LinkedIn?
Sure. So I've been at LinkedIn almost 6 years now, which makes me very much an old-timer. Started LinkedIn as an individual contributor, software engineer working on profile. This was back in 2009, right around when LinkedIn was really hitting its big hockey stick growth moment, and being responsible for what is effectively the core, one of the core pieces of infrastructure at LinkedIn, which is our databases storing our profile data, as well as the services that expose that data. We're having scaling problems, and so spent the first 12 or 18 months really firefighting and bailing water and doing whatever we could to scale up that system, stabilized it, and really were able to get it to a point where we weren't having issues every Monday and Tuesday morning at peak traffic like we were when I first started. And then once we had really stabilized the infrastructure, we were able to pivot and start thinking about, what we really wanted the profile to be at LinkedIn, and developed a bunch of features, both at targeting, and helping our members to show the best of their professional selves online, as well as helping us, helping them fill out their profiles, which profile data is what powers every part of the LinkedIn experience. Mm-hmm. After that, was given the opportunity to take on a larger role at LinkedIn and lead what we called our core engineering team. Basically our core products, things like identity, all the profile related products, which I was always responsible for, but growth and internationalization and the member-to-member connection ecosystem, as well as a few other products. And that was obviously very interesting, working on basically the heart of what the LinkedIn product suite is. And then most recently, decided I wanted to transition into a slightly less mature, leading a set of products that were slightly less mature, where their technology and the product strategies were still, in their early stages, which is how I landed my current role, heading up engineering for our content products, things like Pulse and SlideShare, and the publishing platform and sharing of content on LinkedIn, really trying to a set of products aimed at giving professionals the knowledge that they need to keep up to date with what's happening in their industry and in their company, and to really help give them the knowledge that they need to solve and to do the work that they are doing every day in their jobs.
Yeah, I must say, I already see a lot of this products surfacing, Pulse and the SlideShare. So I think there is a huge potential because a lot of people share, the presentations. So I would say this is a really amazing career, right? Because LinkedIn is a giant organization. I worked in a top prospect social hiring, recruiting startup, and we dealt with LinkedIn data, and it was very interesting to see, LinkedIn already operated as a big company. It was 3 years ago. So, and I wonder, how do you create change at such scale, right? There is this book about IBM, Elephants Can Dance. Can you make this elephant dance? How do you actually accomplish something in such a big organization?
It's a really good question. The reality is, I would be lying if I said that as LinkedIn's grown from the 400 people it was when I started to the near, 6,500, 7,000, I don't know what the number is now, that the effort required to really make significant change and impact on the business is harder. That said, I think that ultimately making change is something that requires people who want to be champions for that change. So I'll give you an example. We for a very, very long time we had in our data center, we probably have something on the order of 300 and 350 services that power, the LinkedIn experience. And we had accumulated an enormous amount of technical debt around our APIs. They were not we were using Spring RPC, so it was not language agnostic. You know, it was actually like the framework itself was pretty nasty. It was really hard to make backwards and compatible changes. And so a set of engineers decided, you know what, like, this has to stop. Like, we actually need to rewrite all of our APIs. We need to build a new framework that's going to help us model our domains much easier and expose those domain models to clients. And like they just took the mantle and they championed it, and they talked to the technology executive team and you know, really got buy-in, you know, for this massive effort that's now taken us 18 months to accomplish. If you imagine, like, rolling out domain model and API changes across 350 services and data centers is non-trivial, and yet, you know, a handful of engineers decided that this was important enough for the company's future to do. So ultimately, I believe that no matter how large the company is, if you have engineers who are passionate about doing things the right way and about change, and you have a leadership team at all levels that supports that kind of culture, like that type of change is still possible.
That sounds great. So I read your LinkedIn profile in all the details, and there's a very interesting theme coming through that, you know, a lot of feedback from your colleagues are saying that, you know, you have absolutely no ego when it comes to do things. Like, they're basically saying, you know, whatever it needs to be done, you just go about doing this, and that's, you know, people say that you're a great colleague and friend to them. So I wonder, and kind of simultaneously you rose through the organization. So I wonder, and so it shows that really caring about what you do, not your ego, really, you know, is beneficial for everybody. So, but it's kind of, I think it's hard for many people to let go. It's a highly charged environment. So the question is, can you offer some advice? What, like, you know, can somebody learn basically to let go and focus on the task and kind of forgo politics? What does it take to do that?
First of all, I'm flattered. I think it's as you pointed out, it's non-trivial, especially when, you know, we live in these matrixed organizations with different teams and different, you know, potentially product areas where, you know, we're on a day-to-day basis focused on the thing that we, like, on our strategy, the set of things that we have to do today or the next few weeks to win, where winning is defined as, you know, some objective, but it's very much local winning, right? Like, my boss or my boss's boss or me, myself, if I'm the leader, like, or us as a team collectively, we decided this is what's going to be the best thing for our product area. Turns out, all your peer organizations, again, whether it's because you're matrix or because you just have different teams, they have their own objectives as well, and they're trying to win. And many times those objectives are in conflict, right? And I think the way that we resolve these conflicts ultimately is if we start from a place where winning means what's best for the organization, right? It's not necessarily what's best for me, and that's better than what's best for you because you're in some other team, and I know I have this ego or this passion. I know this is right. It's actually, the reality is that these conflicting incentives and strategies for local winning are very frequently in conflict, and we have to work together to resolve those conflicts such that we can reach, like, a global optima. I think one other point here is that sometimes as leaders or as engineers, individuals, like, we're actually incapable of resolving these conflicts, right? Like, I have my mandate, you have your mandate. We actually don't have the context or really the decision-making authority to resolve the conflict independently. Like, we may be able to, but many times we can't. And the right way to handle these situations, again, inside of what is optimizing for the global is to escalate it cleanly together to a person who has the context and the authority to make the decision about how to balance these conflicting priorities. If we think about it, if we behave in this way, if we resolve conflict in this way, if we always strive to think about, you know, what's best for the company instead of what's best for me or what's best for the team, I think that goes a really, really long way.
I think that's a great advice as companies grow, and Nitro is a growing company. So I think the last question which I have is, we're a data-driven company, and you actually work with data-driven products, and LinkedIn is a data-driven organization. So we're hiring data scientists, we're hiring engineers. How do you make these teams work together? How do you create these data-driven products, iterating fast and in a startup fashion? What's your take on this?
It's a really good question. I think it's hard. I mean, even companies at the size of LinkedIn and teams at a company that's really data driven and I think has a data driven culture at LinkedIn struggle with this a little bit, because especially in less mature products, you have to balance gut with what the data is telling you. And many times you don't even have the data, you don't have sufficient data to inform your strategy. Like when we're talking about a really mature product like profile at LinkedIn or growth at LinkedIn, you have years and years of data and massive amounts of data to inform strategy. In more venture-ish products like Pulse, for example, we just don't have that much data. And so a lot of it is leveraging the data that we have and the insights that we can extract from our users and from their behavior, and blending it with our instinct about what we think our members want, and user feedback, like actually talking to the users and thinking about what value we're actually trying to create for them. And blending those two things together to create our both short-term and long-term strategy. As far as how you build a data-driven culture, I think, this sounds a little bit circular, but most people working in technology and R&D organizations ultimately are very logical people, and the basis of every logical argument is data. So even the most gut-driven, strategic, visionary product manager presented with, with insights extracted from real data about how the users of their product are behaving, will be compelled, in my opinion, to leverage that. And so, if we push to use data to inform our product decisions, I think over time that just changes the rhythm and the way that we do things and how we think about developing product. Looking at the opportunity that is available with one feature and the cost, for example, of implementing that feature, comparing it with others to inform our prioritization, et cetera.
Okay, and in terms of making data scientists and engineers working together, what's your insight from LinkedIn experience?
They have to work super closely. The teams that I've seen flourish at LinkedIn and perform best are the ones where data science, engineering, and product, and honestly design are all working very, very closely together at every step of the R&D process, from ideation, as we talk about which features we want to prioritize and what the cost is and all that stuff, to making sure we have the right instrumentation in place before the feature is shipped, to then doing the follow-on analysis to determine, is the feature or the product we ship living up to the expectations that we set for it at the ideation stage, and then learning from that data to take the next step and iterate on top of it. And if all of these disciplines aren't working together, then I actually believe what you wind up producing are products that fall short of their potential.
Thank you very much, Erran. That's great advice, and we're looking forward to your talk.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you, Alexy.